The cairn's whispers. The air on the Appalachian Trail was thin and tasted of pine and impending snow. Elias, a seasoned solo trekker, had been hiking for 3 weeks, his rhythm an almost meditative sequence of footsteps and heavy breathing. Today, however, the silence was too loud. It pressed in, thick and unnatural, muffling the usual sounds of the forest. No bird calls, no scuttling critters. He was deep in a section known locally as the Silent Divide, a high-altitude ridge known for its eerie, quiet, and sudden, violent weather changes. He stopped before a cluster of gray, lichen-flecked stones. It was a cairn, but unlike the trail markers he was used to. This one was almost 5 feet tall, meticulously stacked, and topped not with a final, flat stone, but with a piece of sculpted, bleached bone. Elias felt a prickle of alarm that was more than just superstitious dread. This wasn't a standard marker. As he circled it, he noticed something dug into the soft earth at the base. A small, smooth wooden box, sealed shut with ancient, rusted wire. Curiosity, that eternal curse of the wilderness explorer, won out over his better judgment. He dug it free, prying open the lid with the blade of his trekking knife. Inside, resting on a bed of dried moss, was a single item, a miniature compass. But the needle didn't point north. It didn't spin wildly, either. It was fixed, utterly still, pointing directly at the sole of Elias's right boot. He felt a chill that had nothing to do with the temperature. He quickly replaced the box, shoving it back into the ground and covering it with stones. He told himself it was a prank, an odd trail artifact. As he turned to continue his hike, a sound finally broke the silence. It wasn't a whisper, nor a rustle, but a soft, rhythmic tap, 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 coming from behind him. He glanced over his shoulder. Nothing, just the silent forest and the unsettling cairn. He sped up, pushing his legs hard, his heart hammering against his ribs. The tap, tap, tap followed, maintaining the exact same slow, measured cadence as his own footsteps. He started to run, stumbling over roots and stones. The sound sped up too. It wasn't echoing his pace, it was matching it perfectly. Every time his right boot hit the ground, the tap came simultaneously, unnervingly close, like something stalking him not from the woods, but inside his shadow. He scrambled up a steep incline, breath sawing in his lungs. He was fast, but the tapping was relentless. Finally, he stopped, dropping his pack and spinning around with his knife drawn, ready to fight a mountain lion, a deranged local, anything corporeal. The tapping stopped. The silence returned, now even more absolute and menacing. Elias stood there, panting, surrounded only by the indifferent trees. He was alone. He slowly looked down at his right boot, the one the miniature compass had pointed to. The leather was scuffed and worn. He kneels to inspect it and freezes. Embedded deep in the tread, where his heel struck the earth, was a tiny, perfectly round piece of bleached bone, no bigger than a coin. It had been acting as a bizarre, macabre cleat. As he stared at it, a faint, dry voice, like autumn leaves skittering across pavement, seemed to rise from the bone itself, from the very bottom of his foot. "It's a long way home, isn't it?" Elias didn't wait to see if the voice belonged to the bone or something else. He tore the fragment out, threw it into the abyss, left his pack behind, and ran down the mountain faster than he had ever run in his life, feeling every step of his right foot as a sickening, inescapable thud. He made it back to civilization 3 days later, pale, starved, and haunted. When the authorities recovered his abandoned pack, they noted that the tent had been carefully taken down and folded, and the miniature bone-topped cairn was nowhere to be found. But pinned to the outside of the backpack, where his heart had rested for 3 weeks, was a single, smooth piece of wood, expertly carved into the shape of a human foot.